Hey, let's see. Come on, there it is. It's live. Oh my God, this is night 5. Every night this week, a new guest. We started off on Monday with Gem Mint. Tuesday we had Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers. Wednesday we had Comicon from Comicon 101. Yesterday we had Reggie from Reggie Collects, and today we have Brian from Simpleman's Comics. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be in the company of those guys you just mentioned, as well as I gotta be careful how I phrase this, but at the end of Bueller Sweeps Week.
You're closing out the week, man.
Yeah. I don't want to bring up the reader. I got to be careful. But yeah, things going good. I mean, making the best out of, everyone's in the same boat as far as the situation everyone's going through right now. So making the most of staying at home. I've been wearing hats because we had that discussion before, like desperately need a haircut, but yeah, been enjoying it, been enjoying the comics, been enjoying the comic community. It's been a great time given the circumstances that we're under, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's always nice to spend time with family. You have a wonderful family. I've seen pictures of them. You guys going to Disney World or whatever, all your vacations. It seems like you guys are going on vacation like every other week, which was kind of nice. You know, it was like living vicariously through your vacation photos of all the great places you get to go to. You have a lot of people planned after you can go again?
We usually try to go every other year, but then sometimes we because we have that Disney Vacation Club, which is basically Disney timeshare. So then there's also resorts that aren't exactly at the parks, but they have like one in Hilton Head. So we can like get a cheaper way of going there for like a long weekend. And it's the Disney experience without the Disney experience. So they have the Disney Mickey bars and stuff. So when you put pictures like that, people are like, man, you're at Disney World again? And it's like, not really, but we're kind of doing what we can do. So, but yeah, kids, like you said, hit or miss, right? I love the kids, and then the kids drive you nuts. This homeschooling stuff that we've got them doing, and then trying to homework or do work ourselves. My wife and I are sitting in the kitchen doing our own jobs, and then the kids going crazy, and then the online learning stuff doesn't work the way you want. So yeah, it's we're practicing chaos.
So. Yeah. So are the kids, is there any word about school reopening at all this year? In Oregon, they've canceled the whole school year.
Yeah. So yeah, just for, your viewers that aren't aware, I'm in Maryland, and the people, and I think they're talking mid-May right now is the latest, and then of course they'll reevaluate. But it's weird. So I don't know if they haven't mentioned anything like extending or any of that. Just that hey, the schools might reopen mid-May.
Wow. Well, let me go ahead and jump into the chat really quick. We got some people in here. Brian, hello. David says, looking forward to another great interview. Thank you so much, David. We have Derek Magnus, one of my friends. Love that guy. Samuel, hello. How are you? I'm even in the chat. That's pretty good. Samuel said I think this will be the best interview of the week. So this is a high standard, and it's pretty much up to Brian. It's not up to me. He has to bring it. So,
like all Ricky Bobby over here.
There you go. Here on the Kid, hello. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Got my good friend Sam from Sam's Tango Web. We have your co-host, a.k.a. Mr. Bolo, and we'll get to him a little bit later because I have some questions about Mr. Bolo. So that should be a lot of fun. Let's see, just kind of scrolling down here. Aggressively Relaxing is in here as well. William, hello. Let's see, Rich, hello. We got Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers. He's in here. He was my guest for the second night. And Two Gun Pedro, hello as well. L Dub, hello. Let's see here. And looks like there's a few other people in here. Pages, Films, and Plastics just showed off their X-Files DVD collection, which is pretty cool. A little video today. I was a big X-Files fan back in the day.
I also want to say one thing before you go further with this is I say always love. I've been on here one time before. It's been a while, but you always bring the heat with the chat on your live stream. So definitely enjoy that, and welcome to everyone in the comic community. So it's good stuff.
Well, you know, I don't do a lot of live streams on this channel anymore, and I used to have a pattern where I was really good, and then there'd be a bunch of people watching, and I could handle it very well. Right now, I'm playing catch up quite a bit to what it used to be, but it's all right. But I do have some questions for you, and we'll kind of just jump in. What have you missed the most over the last few weeks that we've been pretty much just cooped into the house?
I mean, the obvious choice would be like new releases, right? You get I haven't always been the best. It's not like I get to make it there every Wednesday, but I have a good relationship with my local comic book store, which is Third Eye Comics. Not the big one. They have a big one in Annapolis that people might be aware, but there's a smaller one down by me. And I miss going in there and having that conversation with Sean and Ashley and the people that work there, talking about books. Even occasionally, you run into people that watch your channel, which is great to talk to those people as well. And I miss Jack and I doing the Bolo show or having the Bolo show talking about new releases. But we always say there's positive that comes out of the negative. So you kind of switch gears and you just make new content and have something else to talk about. It's still good because you're talking about people, you're talking with people, you're just talking online, which I enjoy, but I'm kind of an extrovert at heart and like that face-to-face communication and talking to people. But that's kind of what I miss most about what's been changed so far. But and I think there'll be some good changes. I don't want to lead in it. You might have questions about this later, but I think there's going to be some good changes that come out of this whole situation, which I believe probably other people that you've had on this week have said the same.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a little bit. Now, you said your comic shop was Third Eye Comics, right?
Yes.
Okay. I actually met the owner of Third Eye Comics a couple of years ago. I met him. He was here in Portland for Comics Pro event. He was here with one of the managers, I think, of the bigger store, if I'm not mistaken, and they had just moved to that store at the time. It's like something like 3,000 or 4,000 square feet or something. So very cool guy. I really enjoyed talking to him.
They moved into a bigger store, and then they have one by me, and then like a year ago they opened one in Richmond, Virginia as well. So.
Oh wow! And I looked and watched some of the videos because he had some YouTube videos of his shop. I was like, man, that's a really, really cool looking shop. You know, he had a tile floor with the black and white throughout and stuff, and the great looking end caps. Just a really awesome looking comic shop with plenty of room to move around in. So I really enjoyed. And they sell
like everything, and right next door to it now they have a huge like tabletop gaming store. So if they're into that, I mean, there's always stuff going on up there.
Very much so. Another thing, what do you want to do as soon as this is over? What's the first thing you want to do? What are you looking forward to when everything's open? You can go out with the wife and the kids and do whatever.
There's two things, because I wanted to take the kids out and go to the parks and just do something family. I actually wanted this. I said in the fall, when the stuff, hopefully in the fall we get cleared of all this, I want to take a long weekend trip. I want to go up to Gettysburg. I enjoy going up to Gettysburg, getting out of the house, getting around the whole Civil War Park, doing stuff up there, either Gettysburg or like Hershey Park, somewhere around there. But I also, man, I miss going to a movie theater. I'm a movie guy. I like going to movie theaters and sitting there with the popcorn and the reclining seats and watching on the huge screen. That doesn't do the same as sitting at home. So I don't want to. Hey, it's kind of a bad answer because you're like, hey, when everything's back and you can meet with people, what do you want to do? I want to sit alone in the theater with my friends. But it's that. I like going out and doing stuff and just getting the kids out of the house because I'm ready to get them out of the house. That's for sure.
Oh man. Now see, my kids are older, so it's a little bit different. You know, my daughter, I told her she's now in her mid-20s. She hated that because she's 24 and it's mid-20s, 24, 25, 26, mid-20s. Before she was in her early 20s, she liked that a lot better when I said she was in her early 20s. But now she's in her mid-20s, but she's doing great. My son, he's in his early 20s. He's 22. And so as far as them being at the house, they're kind of off there and doing their own thing, living their own lives. So, but I understand where you're coming from because at one time they were younger and I was like, you guys need to go visit your grandma or something like that.
And my mother-in-law lives in town on the other side of town. And she's dying to have them. And we're like, when we can, you will trust us.
We got a few other people in here. Rich, hello. Sam Fett, hello. Hopefully you're doing well. Keith, hello. And let's see, we got JB Discovery Bay right there. Awesome. Doing the community a big service because he tells everyone what to watch every day and what's available for everybody. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that guy.
So let's talk about a little bit of comics. And because of what's going on, what kind of effect or lasting effect do you see this having on the comic book industry? Obviously, a lot has happened. I mean, not on the storefront. I mean, obviously, stores are closed and no new comics. But when the switch gets flipped, hopefully sooner than later, what kind of effect do you think we're going to see?
I think we're going to see some good, some bad, right? I think there's going to be some chaos at first because are we going to get a a rush of releases that have been held up? Is it going to like all hit the store at once? You saw the thing with DC. Is DC going to do the distribution to Midtown and DCBS, even though they try to name it something different? But I think there's going to be some changes also that are for the better, because everyone you've heard Diamond has a monopoly, right? At first, Diamond was a good thing because it made the print runs reasonable again after the whole bubble bust in the 90s. But now after this situation, you got a single point of failure through distribution change. I think that's going to change. I think there's going to be some trial and error with some of that. But I think when you have those retailer summit events and those comics pros, I think those are going to be big topics coming up where they're going to start working out, hey, even if Diamond is the main distributor again, we need a contingency and plan to flip that switch if something like this were to happen where we can get books into people. I do not think digital only is the answer. I think the community itself doesn't want that. I think there's some comic readers that are fine with it, but the people that make up a big bulk of the comic community wants that physical good in their hand to read. So digital is not going to be the answer.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think digital. I mean, I hate to say it. I've said this in the past. I think eventually digital will be. It's hard to say it out loud, to be honest with you. But, when you look at the dynamics of things and just how things work, why comics aren't digital right now, and that's the main way to consume them, I really don't understand why, because everything else has gone to digital as far as a media platform like movies and games and music. I'm glad that they haven't, and I think it's just because of the collector aspect and how much we appreciate holding the book in our hands. That's not to say that down the road that Marvel pushes more towards digital or DC pushes more towards digital, and once they do, then are we forced to make the switch? I don't know. I hope that day never comes. But what I want to ask you, what is your initial response to DC on their steps that they've taken?
I think it's a greed. We kind of talked about this on our channel, but I think it's about greed, and I think it's greed where greed doesn't deserve to be, because it's not like you understand the rumor that, okay, you've heard AT&T wants to sell off DC Comics at some point. You've heard that rumor, or you've heard that, hey, they're not doing that great. But I don't think DC Comics is doing that bad where they can't just wait up a minute and just let the stuff clear and then go with the distribution as we've done before. I see if they start distributing now, and then you've heard Diamond say, well, hold up, we still got these books in here, so they're coming. So what are you going to do? Get like double the print run, and then people are going to get the books before it. So it's going to see it's going to be kind of chaos, especially within the secondary market. When you look at it that way, if people are talking speculation and stuff like that, stuff's going to be spoiled. Stuff's going to probably shoot up and come back down, especially with way DC. One of the biggest things in DC right now is, of course, Punchline. So how is that going to play out? I don't agree with the DC's answer, and I don't agree with them with DCBS and Midtown doing it, because you got big retailers. What about the smaller stores? And now you have to buy them. It's like buying from your competitor, right? Like, wait a minute, if I want your books, I got to go buy them from another LCS. And what's to say that they're not looking at all these people that are ordering all these books going, hey, we're seeing a trend where they're making a lot more orders on this book. Maybe we should order more, or, it just seems kind of an unfair deal.
Yeah. So I'm just putting this out there, but imagine these books coming from Midtown Comics that they're using to distribute right now. And imagine if your local comic shop got those books in and there was a Midtown Comics stamp on the front of the cover.
Well, and here's the thing also, if you do like the regular mail subscription from Marvel and DC, they come from Midtown. Because when I first got back into books again, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to subscribe to them. And yeah, don't do that, because it comes with like a magazine and a little poly bag with no protection. And yeah, but yeah, they come from Midtown.
I like the fact that they're at least looking to do something. I don't necessarily agree with the people they decided to try to go with. I think that's where the pushback comes from, because the conversation has always been Diamond has a monopoly. I wish there was another option. I'm not happy with Diamond. You hear all those things, and we've talked about that, and probably on our channels and stuff. I've said it before. I've always looked at things as if there's other competition, it makes you better, because it kind of keeps you in check and trying to improve your product a little bit better. Now that this is coming around, and now that the DC is actually looking to have a different distributor do some stuff, it's funny to see the backlash. And I kind of discussed the same thing with all the other gentlemen. It's funny to see that backlash, because they're actually looking to go through another distributor and have someone else in the playing field. I think the main problem is the people who they chose. They should have chose something else, like Penguin Publishing. would have been another one that they could have done, or something else. But going through Midtown Comics, that's the one I'm most familiar with, and that's probably the one most people are familiar with. They are a comic shop. They are small comic shops, major competitor.
Yeah, and both of those are ones that have, within the past 5 years, have raised prices on the hot books, right? Before the DCBS, you can get a 1 in 50 for $25, and then, or Gabrielle Deodato, or those hot artists, and then all of a sudden they saw it, man, they jacked those prices up. And then Midtown within the past year and a half has done the same thing, where they're $40 for a 1 in 25, where you used to be able to $24.95 it, or so.
Now, one thing also, if I'm not mistaken, I think Midtown also, I mean, they would just jack up prices on, like, not necessarily ratio variants, but just like a hot book.
Yeah, especially if it's sold out. And you always wonder, like, did it actually sell out, or did they pull the stock back and then wait and then bring it back and say, we got it back, and then jack the price up? And then they've gone into, it used to be somewhat rare, but you see it a lot now on a lot of modern new releases where they allocate one per customer. So I don't know if that's a way of also allocating their inventory to where they could bring it back if it's hot, but there's a lot more one per customer on their site as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I putting videos together, I'll go and use some of their images, and I'll be like, oh, it's one per customer. Maybe there's some speculation about that book. That's literally what would pop into my mind.
And you see they're all hot.
Yeah, they're all hot. So what do you think about, I don't know if you brought this up or not, but I kind of talked about it earlier in the week, the Comic Hub. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, we had Wolf Warner and then Mel V on one of our Simpleman's Comics and Friend podcasts, and that was a topic that came up. And I think it looked like a good option to me, right? But it's always devils in the details for me, and then how quick would they influence it? So it was basically allowing they were going to be kind of like a distributor also, where LCS could do it's like a point of sale system that some stores already use right now, right?
Yeah.
Basically control their inventory, use it as a point of sale system. And then when they wanted to kind of take a bite and, hey, we can help. I understand they were trying to do good by it, right? They're like, hey, we kind of have an infrastructure set up. I think we can be some help. Let's get some comics out there. But again, I think a lot of it was the devil's in the details, where macro level, you're like, this could be a solution. But then when you start looking at it, it's like, well, how is one store if one store doesn't use it and one store does, or, you start trying to play that game, and you're always like, what's the catch? But
yeah. Well, the thing I noticed about it, for one, the service isn't free. The comic shops had to pay to get this service, and I'm talking about the current one that's actually active right now that comic shops have been using in the past. With the different iteration of it, how they want to do with new books and have you have access to the digital copy right away after you pay for it, and then you get the comic at your local shop, the physical copy, you go pick it up. Obviously, how that works is you pay on that website.
Yeah.
You go to their website, you pay to get the digital copy. So the money is going to them, because for one, the comic shops aren't even open. Okay. And then they would take part of that money and give that to the comic shop. And then you would pick up that book later on whenever they open, or whatever it is. It's different all across America right now. My fundamental problem with that was, at what point did they just say, why do we share the profits with this comic shop? We have this customer coming to our website, ordering the comic. Why don't we just send it straight to them?
Yeah. Or another thing, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Another thing is, right, talking secondary market again, right?
Yeah.
So what if someone wanted to order, hey, I'm gonna order 15 digital copies, but I'll get 15 physical copies when they come out. You get the digital copy, and like I said, the comic's booty, it didn't play out the way you planned on it. Now you don't want those physical copies. Is it going to be left on the are you going to get a refund from your LCS, or how's it going to affect? And then not only that, but the news cycle travels fast, right? Like, hey, don't buy this book. What you think happens in it isn't going to happen. This character doesn't appear, this blah, blah, blah. So then it kind of spoiler alerts the whole people before the physical copy ever comes out. And I think that's going to would affect the market.
Yeah. I'm glad that it really didn't come to fruition. It was actually debunked very shortly after they announced it, which was great. It was actually, it might have been an April Fool's joke, to be totally honest. It was April 1st when the article came out. And then
at least that was their excuse, right? Haha.
Yeah, exactly. Like 48 hours later, it's like, nope, we're not doing it. It's done. We're pulling the plug. How else do you think that this is going to affect the market? Let's just bring in like Comic-Cons. Obviously, Comic-Con season is supposed to be in full swing right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. I mean, do you see a Comic-Con this year?
I'm a Maryland guy, so I'm in Baltimore, right? So
yeah, I know you are. You got a big Comic-Con there.
I'm selfishly hoping that, hey, maybe Baltimore's like the one con that happens, and it's like this huge con this year. But Heroes Con is in June in Charlotte. They still are holding on hope. I see probably nothing until maybe August if things keep going. I know they're not getting political or anything, but I know they're slowly trying to get the economy going again. But I think it could go either way. I'm hopeful late summer, early fall, we kind of get something. And then I'm also hopeful for like the creators and everyone that's, make their living off that. There's some type of, you're not gonna be able to get all those cons in, right? But maybe a couple, one or two West Coast can pop up and the East Coast where someone can at least kind of make something back on those. Because I know it started with Emerald. We were actually supposed to go to WonderCon this year. We were all excited about plane tickets, and I was like going to West Coast Con, and then Emerald City got canceled, and we're like, oh, there's still hope. And then sure enough, they're like, nope, WonderCon's canceled. I was like, dang it.
Yeah, I was supposed to be at Megacon last weekend. Had tickets and everything. I was going to be at the Diamond Retailer Summit as well. And
right now that's rescheduled for June 4th, right? Megacon, supposedly?
Sometime in June, and honestly, I do not have very good faith in that happening. That seems like pretty quick for an event to have hundreds of thousands of people show up in one spot. I don't know if I would want to be the very first con to say, yep, we're going to do this. And then,
social experiment gone bad.
Yeah, Lord forbid something bad happens and it's like no cons for 2 years or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, we have ours in September here in Oregon, the Rose City Comic-Con. That's our big one.
I think that might happen. We'll see, right? I mean,
possibility. Yeah. For one, Oregon hasn't really been hit that hard, which is great. And it's in mid-September. So if it does, great. If it doesn't, I understand. There's also another one in Washington in Puyallup, which is in June as well, the end of June. That's my favorite Comic-Con. I haven't heard any word from them. They haven't advertised or nothing in over a month. And normally they advertise all the time. Yeah. So which is pretty sad because I'm a little worried because I was supposed to do some hosting gigs at that Comic-Con. So I got to get in contact with them.
What we can say, both of us can say this because we're both kind of part of it, is physical cons, but this weekend online, Mainframe Comic-Con's going on. They have the pre-show going on right now, right? And both of us are taking part. You're hosting a panel. I believe we're hosting a panel. I'm loving seeing all these online Comic-Cons come together to try to support the community as a whole.
Yeah, the Mainframe Comic-Con, it's going on right now on their website, mainframecomiccon.com, and also the Comic Core YouTube channel. Like he just said, they have the pre-show going on right now. It officially starts tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Like he said, we're both hosting panels. I'm hosting 2 panels at the very end of Sunday, so almost the last 2, I believe.
You're closing it out, huh?
I guess. I think there might be someone else, like Mad Cave, I think is on there, the last one.
No, we're hosting Mad Cave tomorrow night, 6:30 Central.
Okay, then I don't know. Maybe I am closing it out on Sunday. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's always nice to talk to some creators and, to hang out. I hope it's a big success because the lineup that they have is really great. You guys can go check it out online. It's the easiest thing to do is just go to their website, mainframecomiccon.com. They have the schedule. They have the lineup. You can check out everything out from there and then watch it on the website and also go to Comic Core's YouTube channel and watch it there as well. So, but yeah, it should be kind of fun. It's nice that those guys kind of stepped up and put this together and the word got out and all of a sudden more and more creators signed up and some celebrities are in there as well. And Simpleman's Comics is representing and Comics with Bueller is in there as well, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, kudos to them because I wouldn't want that logistical headache.
I will be totally honest. Chad, who's the main guy in the Comic Core, it's his channel. Chad called me up and he goes, hey, I got this idea to do this online Comic-Con, and he explains it to me. And the first thing out of my mouth was like, man, that seems like a real headache, dude. Yep. I said, logistically, that's going to be a nightmare. I'm more power to you, and I will support you whatever I can. But man, I don't know if I would have took that on board, to be honest.
So we're kind of the same age, and I made this joke to Jack, and it went way over his head because he's a little bit younger. But when this was going on, I know I'm an 80 movies guy, right? So, did you watch Breaking 2 at all as a kid?
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, when they're saving miracles, that's what this felt like. I was like, hey, dude, Comic Core's like saving miracles with Mainframe Comicon. Jack's like, what? And I was like, never mind.
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, one of the best movies you should never watch.
Yeah. It was cool as a kid, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I know all that stuff. We're pretty much, I think we're exactly the same age, if I'm not mistaken.
I will say I'm 42, so.
Oh, I'm a little bit older, so I'm 44.
Yeah, so yeah, close enough.
I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk about your channel, okay? The Simpleman's Comics channel, and you got a bunch of stuff going on there. We did a video about a year ago. We kind of mentioned this before we came on live. We did a video about doing a comic book YouTube channel, and it was a great video. I really enjoyed it. We covered quite a bit of stuff. Since then, both of our channels have grown even more. We're both sitting at the 5 digits, which is awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, same here. I think we both experienced burnout and excitement.
Yeah, it goes up and down, up and down. So since then, like I said, it's been over a year ago. We covered quite a bit. I mean, this might be a little hard question to answer, but has anything changed or your outlook changed a little bit from what we talked about?
I think it constantly evolves. I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you can answer the same way. But I think, you change how you do your thumbnails. You change how. I will say this: one of the most important things, if you're wanting to do YouTube, if you want to, do YouTube like a channel, and I don't want to talk down. I'm not talking down anyways. There's some people that just like, hey, I want to just talk about comics on YouTube, and whoever watches. And there's some people that are like, hey, I want to do a YouTube channel. One thing I've learned since that time you and I did that live stream is the power of actually studying your analytics on your channel, like seeing where your audience retention drops off, seeing where what content's getting more views, what's being picked up, seeing what people are searching for that's finding your videos, seeing what's where your traffic is coming from. Is it coming from websites? Is it coming from search on YouTube? So really getting into analytics, and I realized the more importance. Before I thought I can like Google something like, oh, there's a lot of this. I'll just put a tag, Batgirl Middleton, and my video will get the best. That's a little bit more work than that. It's fun and it's tedious at the same time.
Now, before, I believe you were with CBSI. Are you guys still associated with CBSI?
No, we Jack and I both were heavily involved in CBSI from when the early days when it was just Google Plus went away. Jack and I were heavily involved with marketing it from Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that. It worked well, but then we also decided for a creative standpoint, we wanted to kind of pivot from pure speculation. We wanted to talk more about the comic hobby. And it just kind of ran its course where we felt like, hey, creatively, let's just concentrate on our own content. Everything we're kind of doing, it's like double work. We're kind of doing stuff for CBSI. We're kind of doing stuff for Simpleman's. Let's bring it all in, concentrate just on Simpleman's comics. So we stepped away from CBSI. I want to say it was about November. It was November because it was like right after Baltimore Comic-Con. And we're still friends with people from that channel, but we're no longer affiliated with them or do anything with CBSI.
Now, one thing that you do have right now, and you didn't have back when we did the video, all your videos you used to do back then were pretty much just you. And it was just you on the camera. You have since adopted a co-host, Mr. Bolo himself, also who was with CBSI, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But you guys kind of are a team now on pretty much all your videos you're doing.
Yeah.
How do you like that? I mean, he's bringing a lot more to the table. He's adding a lot to the channel. He's got his Bolo list, a lot of knowledge and everything. He's bringing that to the channel. You have I love having a co-host. When I do my coffee video with my friend Bob, it's so much easier to have someone to interact with. I'm lucky because it's in person. Right. You guys are doing it remotely. I don't think you guys are located in the same area.
Of the in-person ability, but yeah.
Yeah. So do you enjoy that? You enjoy having the co-host, and fill us in a little bit about Mr. Bolo himself.
It's helped out tremendously, right? Because like you mentioned, I was doing a lot of it by myself. And also I work full time. I have a family, so you know how it is making videos. That what you see on the screen is a third of what the work goes behind it, as far as editing and all that. It's just really extensive. Having Jack came on, we did a couple of live streams together as a guest. We were talking about it and like, hey, this would be beneficial. Let's do and it started with the Bolo show, the Bolo list. Let's do the Bolo list together. And it's been a year ago, January is when he first came on, and it was like Christmas, right around Christmas. And I was like, hey man, New Year, let's bring you on to start doing the Bolo show. And he was like, I don't think I have the right, equipment. And so I was like, screw that, man. Then we'll just get on and start talking. And then the Bolo show has increased to more and more. And now he's a partner on the channel. It's been great because I can do the editing and all the stuff afterwards. He can create some of the lists and stuff that we need to do. Get on there, perfect person, knowledgeable guy, great friend. So it's just kind of easy to do the show together, and there's not any. We know our strengths and weaknesses for each other. Just it kind of works out. We consider it. I mean, if you look at some of the shows, especially like the Bolo, we have like Sports Center of comics, right? Where color commentary, where I'm the commentator, he's the play-by-play guy who just kind of explains stuff out. But it works. And then I keep saying, I want to do some more old school, like not comic haul videos, but just some like, DSLR videos of talking about stuff or unboxings or statue reviews that I kind of did. So we'll get a mix of that. And then Jack's going to do some of that too. So you have both of us, and then you each have both of our individual type videos. Yeah, I've enjoyed Jack.
So he comes on. All he has to do is show up for the camera, film a little bit, say some words in the camera, and he leaves all the editing, all the graphics, all that up to you.
Yeah, but when you put it that way, but he's the one that also does a lot of the brainstorming. He handles a lot of the creative side. We both bounce ideas of what we think videos would be, but he brings a lot of that to the table, and he's the one that creates a lot of those lists. And then we discuss them back and forth, but he's the one that kind of brings a lot of the material, and then we just help put it all together.
Yeah. Well, you guys make a really good team. It's enjoyable to watch all the stuff you're doing. I really enjoy you're doing the 10 back issues right now. And where did that come from? Because I like that video. I've been watching those. You've been doing those for a little bit now. And I enjoy back issues. And obviously, since there are no new issues right now that are coming out, it has to be back issues.
Yeah. So the genesis of it, of course, came out of COVID situation because we couldn't do a Bolo show. We can't do a last call show because there's no final order cutoff. There's no new releases. So we always want to say, okay, what can we do we'd always tried to say, well, not everyone's doing, or everyone's got top 10 lists or lists, and everyone knows also lists make great content. So it was one of those things like, hey, we don't want to do like a hot 10 or a top 10 as far as like what's great right now. Let's kind of books that we're on the lookout for, the books that we always like. Everyone has that notebook of, hey, I'm going to a con. These are the books I'm going to look for. So we just kind of took our master list, especially Jack put a hell of a list together and just kind of broke them down into 10 lists. And so each week we do, hey, here's our top 10 back issues that we're looking for this week. But we say this week because that's the week the video comes out. They're kind of static. They're always great books to keep an eye out for. And we have some plans to kind of do something with macro level with a bunch of them once we're done. So I think we have great content planned for that.
Very cool. Now, one thing I want to ask you, we, for a long time, did a very similar video.
Oh, yeah.
On both of our channels. So one of us decided not to do it. And one of us is not doing it right now just because it's not available to him to do right now. But one of us decided to pull the plug on it. Yeah. And I never asked you why, so I'm just going to ask you right now. Why did you pull the plug on your weekly picks video?
Yeah, so the biggest answer is burnout, right?
Really?
That was like the video that I filmed usually on Sundays after doing the Bolo show and some other videos, and there's a couple things. You and I were doing them together, but then it seemed like a lot of people that were coming into YouTube had a weekly picks video. So I was like, hey, I'm kind of burnt out from doing it. I think the content's already out there on YouTube, so no one's going to really miss out on it. Bueller does a great list, and then some other people are starting to do it. And if you're making videos on the weekend,
yeah,
you got a family, sometimes you get some friction there. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out on it anyways. If I have to cut a video, I'm going to cut the weekly picks. And that's kind of just like, we also felt some redundancy because this is also at the time we were still with CBSI where we were doing the Bolo list. Jack and I were writing like the Wednesday Warriors is what we called it at the time. We're writing that new release article. So between those three pieces of content, you started like, oh, I'm talking about the same thing over and over again. So I just kind of cut the weekly picks.
Yeah. Well, I remember you and I talking about those videos, and I think there was one week where there was some confusion about what cover was one issue, and both of us we didn't have the right cover.
Yep.
And we just got crapped on from like so many people, but it wasn't just us. It was like literally everybody had the wrong cover for this.
Yeah, I think it was like a Nightwing, and it was like a Jeff DeCall cover, but it was solicited as something else.
So out of the hundreds of images that we gathered up and put together and made all this list and took all this time, it's that 1 3-second clip that stood out in somebody's mind, and they decided to point that out. Just so you know, that still happens on my end. So you might have made the right decision to not do those anymore. But one thing I noticed about those, and one thing I started doing on mine, I dropped the weekly picks thing and just made it new comic books coming out, because it's on my list I put out. There's no picks. It's literally, hey, these are all the books that are coming out. You can go get them. Yours was, if I remember, it was majority of the books, but they were your picks. I mean, there was some that were omitted from the list. You just didn't put them on there because they weren't your picks. I do remember one time watching your video, and you like showed a book, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't really want that one." And I'm like, "This is called his weekly picks."
I know, right?
He doesn't want that one.
That was kind of another thing also, because one thing we're big on with the channel is we even open a lot of the videos on it is integrity and community are the paramounts, right? So I kind of felt like, hey, I don't really want this. I'd rather say it. And it got to a point where I'm like, hey, I can't afford to buy this many books. That's one thing to look at, is like, hey, these are books I think other people want to read as well. So it's kind of put it in the weekly picks. But it got to where like, hey, I kind of feel some sort of way if I'm like, if you're sitting there putting your opinion to it, hey, I like this book because, but then deep down you're like, man, I can't afford this. I'm not really going to buy it. I kind of feel kind of guilty about it. So it's just one of those things where it's like, everything adding up, and that's the least reason why. Most of it was because of burnout and like the wife going, "You're always doing damn YouTube stuff," but it just kind of added up, and we enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it, and then watching yours on the back end and seeing what we kind of picked the same, what were differences, different deliveries. So it wasn't like the same video. You could get something from watching both.
No, it was the same. It was the same thing. It was the same thing. It was. I'll just be honest, okay? I remember in the very beginning, I was like, okay, I was doing like a weekly picks video or a new comic book video, and I was showing physical copies of the books, okay? And I was like, oh, and here you go, here they are, because the comic shop was letting me come in like a day early and show those books, and I'd release the video at like 9 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock Eastern time to get away with it. And then I would watch like your video, and then I would see all these variants that I didn't even know existed, to be totally honest. I was like, because this shop didn't order variants. And I was like, man, there's a lot of books that I'm missing. And then I did some research, and I looked on websites and other websites, and I found not only is there another variant, but there's 10 more variants.
Yeah.
There's 15 more variants.
We're talking about a Marvel book.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here's the X-Men book. There's 100 variants for it type thing. And I just decided, since this guy's not going to get these books in, I have to go the route and do a digital version of this video. So that's pretty much what that was. It's like, I need to do a digital version. I was like, let me go. And I was watching yours. And like I said, that's where I saw all these variants. I was like, I want to do something like that, but I got to make it my own. It can't just be what his is. So I went out and tried to find all the books, from like exclusives to comic shops to artist exclusives, and just show everything, not just weekly picks, everything I could find, whether I've heard of it or not. That's what it was.
That's called an editing nightmare.
It was the editing. It still is, man. I have a template now. It's a little easier, but
once you get a workflow, it makes it easier. But
yeah, it is literally an 8 to 10 hour process, depending on how big the week is, to put that. Because here's the thing: it's not downloading images is one thing, but then going and labeling everything. Because you did the same thing. You would label everything.
Yeah, and then the bad
too.
thing is everything would look good, and like somewhere with transcoding, exporting like a lower third would mess up, and it just piss you off, and you have to like re-export it.
I said this before, but like I just put out a video that is last week. It's 50 comics worth $100 guaranteed.
Oh yeah, and you left one out, right?
I left one out. I totally didn't even notice it until I uploaded the video, and I'm sitting there because I did it. I filmed it. I just accidentally cut that scene out without realizing it's not in there. And then I'm watching the video and it just goes from like 43 to 45. I'm like, what? Where's 44? And the funny thing is there's comments in that video because I asked people, out of the 50 books, how many of the books do you have? And I've had people say, I have all 50. I go, oh, really? There's only 49. But it's such a seamless edit, you don't even notice it.
It's one of those things where like a number might be like those optical things, like where the number's backwards, but you don't notice. Or
yeah, luckily I just said the number. I didn't like make a little graphic for the number, so it worked out pretty well. But yeah, next time I do that video, which is probably next week sometime, I'll make sure to actually have all 50 of them in there. But nobody said a word, so it's not bad at all.
I've done that too before, because once you get the lower third and you just kind of copy and paste it so you can just rename it. And I've had videos where it's like number seven again.
I've done that.
Yeah.
It's the little things. Luckily and I've done that a lot on the weekly previews video. I mean, people only watch them for a week. I mean, once the week's over, they don't go back and watch it again. It's like I can go to my weekly picks video from 2 months ago and it hasn't had a view in, 35 days. There's no reason for people to go back and watch it. So
yeah, it's not as evergreen, but what's great about those videos is it's prosperity for your channel. If you wanted to say, hey, look, it's recorded, it's documented. I talked about this book back then. If you ever wanted to use it for that kind of thing, makes great micro content to cut it, just not to brag, but just to say, hey, look, man, this was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a database of books. I have about almost a 2-year database of new releases that you can go back and look and. You can go back and see what came out this week, last year, if you just know the date. Do you ever go
back and watch them just to see how your video and your delivery and your editing, that's changed?
I do. I mean, now, my intro and outro is pretty much standard. I mean, it's the same on every one of them.
Whenever I try to change it, I don't like it. Like if I try to say something different, I'm like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been the same now for a while. So it just is the first 1 minute of my videos are pretty much verbatim every video. So
I thought you were going to start change it up and start saying, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens."
Oh no, I'm not going to do that. That's all you, man. All the cool cats and kittens. You can use that one.
You watched Tiger King, right? The Carol Baskin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did a fake top 10 video a couple weeks ago, and one of the books was The Invisible Woman, and I used like a cutout picture of Carol Baskin as the cover, and I imposed the Invisible Woman logo on there, and I said, this one is brought to you by Carol Baskin. She's the author of this book. Apparently in this one she murders her husband and nobody can find him and stuff. It's good stuff. Anyway, let's kind of switch gears a little bit. And I want to talk about kind of like, I guess if you want to say hot books or something like that. I was recently asked the question, and I don't know if I could give the guy an honest answer. He asked me right now a new book. What would be a new book to invest in over, say, the last year or so? And something that he would get a return on his investment. I sat there and I thought to myself, okay, when he says return on investment, I kind of asked him how much. He's like, he wants to make some money on it down the road. And like a lot of books will go up in value, but like to the $20 mark. And that's not really a huge profit return. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think, even over last year, even 2019, and let's just say 2020, what's one book that came out that might be a good long-term investment book? The only one really that popped in my mind, maybe because it was more recent, was the first appearance of the Punchline character in the Hell Risen. What's your thoughts on it? Do you have any other book that you would recommend for a long-term investment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say we'll just say cover A, right? I'm not gonna talk in center variants. I think just going cover A. I think Ninja Turtles number 95 would be a great one with the Jenica. I also really like the Kylo Ren series, right? The Star Wars Rise of Kylo Ren. That cover. You're seeing a lot of Star Wars talk right now, and I think you don't hear much about the Kylo Ren. Or I'll even say, Jack and I have kind of talked about this before also, is the newer characters from the Star Wars movies. Now, I understand a lot of people feel some sort of way about those new Star Wars movies. Those characters, the movies might stink, but those characters have a lot of backstory that you could fill out within those comics. And I think that Rise of Kylo Ren miniseries, that was it 6 issues, I think it was. There's a lot of backstories with Kylo, Knights of Ren, Snoke. I think with the way Star Wars is hot again right now, especially with the Star Wars lands in Disney, I think 5 years from now, that's going to be a book that we see heat on it now. It's kind of dropped a little bit, but I still like that Star Wars Kylo Ren number 1.
So what is your opinion on the Punchline character or that book? Would Hell Risen be the one to have? We always say first appearance is the first appearance, right? So I would say Batman 89. Granted, if you're going to go the way the market goes, it's the cameo because you see binoculars and 2 panels or something like that. Her mouth or something.
Yeah. So that's the first appearance. It's the first appearance. I think that's technically the first appearance.
Sure.
Batman 89, I think, is a good one. I think 92, with that Art Germ cover. The Joker, was it the 80th Joker that going to have the origin story? I think these are all good. A lot of people think I hate Punchline. I don't hate Punchline. I just think we don't know enough about the character to warrant the prices that the books are going for.
Yeah.
I bought 1 issue of all of those and put it away just because I collect Batman. But seeing I think it's great for the hobby for one thing because it brings fervor and brings readers into it. But for me personally, I'm like, man, these books are going for so much. I don't see paying that much money when we don't know too much about the character yet. A couple panels. She could be badass. Everyone's good quitting. It could be the next Harley Quinn. It could not be. It could be the next Mr. Bloom, for all we know. Or it could be 2 weeks before that, we were talking about a new villain in Lois Lane, and that shot up and then died down. But I think I'm not saying this character won't be anything. I just don't like how it ascended so quickly, and people are paying buku bucks for it. So it's just like buyer beware type thing. But I'm not hating Punchline. I just don't know her.
Yeah, I sold. I'll be honest. I sold mine right away. I was literally. I picked up. I had both the one where she made the cameo appearance in Batman, and then I had the Hell Risen one, and I had an auction scheduled like that weekend, and I was like, I'm selling them. And I just
kudos to those that made money on it.
Yeah. So I mean, they sold really fast, and the way I look at it, I'm selling both of these books. I'm going to pay for my pull list next week, and that's exactly what I did. Sold those 2 books. Paid, $6 or whatever it was, took that money and bought my pull list for the next week. And then I just got the second prints of the Batman book, for my personal collection and put that in there because I'm collecting Batman anyway. But, it's curious because I really had a hard time trying to answer that guy's question as far as a long-term investment book that will appreciate quite a bit in value. Like I said, there's a lot of books that are they come out, their cover price, and they're worth like $20. And they kind of sit there at $20 to $30. Yeah. But he was asking me, hey, what book should I buy right now? A new book that 10 years down the line is going to be worth, a few $100s.
I think Venom 3 would be another good one, right? A lot of people like the Noah character and stuff like that. But then they'll say, do I get Venom 3 or do I get Thor God of Thunder? But you can't go wrong with either, especially if you can get them at a good price. There's a lot of books you can kind of look at that way. That's one of the good things about Jack. He has that long-term play, and a lot of people are like, that book sucks. Well, it's a long-term play, and it's basically a crystal ball. You don't know, but could be, could not be. But it's also like your opinion. Do you think, I'm going to buy this and stash it away? And also, it's the price of a Red Bull. It's the price of a scratch-off ticket.
It's the price of a Red Bull. I like that.
unless you're going heavy on it, say, hey, this is my long-term play, buy 50 of them, which we never say to do that. We just think, hey, this book is going to be, it might be worth holding on to. Strange Academy, I think, could be another one. You never know what's going to go with that.
Well, I have the Venom 3, so I'm glad you brought that book up. So I'll make sure it's actually framed. It's behind me in the other corner because it's autographed by Donnie Cates, so it's something special.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So moving on a little bit more with like hot books or whatnot, this term gets thrown around a lot. I mean, a lot. And it's the term optioned. And every other day, it seems like this option term is being thrown around for every single book. Just about.
It's almost to the point where it's more news if something doesn't get optioned.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, that's not optioned yet? Why not? And that's kind of the question. Do you think with how that term is used now, and a lot of these titles will get optioned and they'll never see the light of day for Hollywood or movie or TV or whatever. They just do it because they just want the rights to it down the future if it's something they need to do. But do you think that term, since it's used so much now, is losing some of its vibrato?
Me personally, from when I see it, yeah, it does. Because like you just said, it's everything's being optioned right now. But I think you're always getting new people into the market, and then you get the news cycle from whatever people talking about something that they hear optioned, and they're automatically picking it up because, hey, this is gonna be this could be a movie. I'd rather buy it and it not be a movie, or FOMO sets in and they don't buy it and it becomes a movie. And then the thing is there's books now that do get optioned, they do get made, and it just sucks and the books don't do anything. So it's all kind of like, we always say, buy what you like, accept the level of risk that you're comfortable with. We don't control your money. It's not like I'm financing your hobby or you're paying me to tell you what to buy. That's why we always, here's our opinions, this is what we like. But ultimately, what's the level of risk you're comfortable with? Do you feel good about this? And then don't just listen to one person. If see if there's other avenues that feel the same certain way, kind of help base your opinion on whether, okay, yeah, I feel a little bit more comfortable taking the risk on this book. I think it's going to be turned into a movie. But I agree that everything's being optioned nowadays. There's also, if you know more the background of it, some option news has stronger influence than stuff that you never heard about before. That's, oh, this is optioned. Like there's some properties that you hear in the news cycle, like, hey, this is looking to be made, and then it gets optioned. Like, okay, yeah, I like that. But then there's some stuff that's like, hey, this book from 1984 that no one talks about, it's been optioned, and you're like, okay, maybe it's being made, maybe it's not. But so ultimately, I always say, buy what you like. And that's not like, it sounds cliche, but it's I don't ever want to sit there and say, well, you need to buy this book because it's going to be a movie. Well, maybe it won't be.
So this is one of my favorite publishers, Boom Studios. I think you just did a video about them with their deal with Netflix, which is great. And honestly, the first time I read Something is Killing the Children, the first thing that popped in my mind was like, man, this is going to be a great TV show. I mean, that's the first thing I said when I got that book, when I got home and read that thing. I said, this is written like a television show. And now, like I said, Netflix and Boom are partnered together to do some of their products or take some of their titles and make those into shows or movies or whatever they want to do, which is just fantastic. Because honestly, I'm a big supporter of Boom Studios, and it shows because they have recently became like the 4th largest publisher in comic books. They overtook the other ones. Are right behind Image. It's Marvel, DC, Image, and Boom Studios as of this year. And Boom Studios, I don't know if you saw this today, the president or whoever of Boom Studios put out a message to comic book shops. Did you see that on Facebook?
I did. I saw it on that. I saw it, Ross Ritchie, CEO, and their actual marketing VP. I always forget his name. Arun's the VP of marketing. We know him pretty well.
Arun, yeah.
The actual marketing VP. I saw it was on Newsarama also. And they do a lot of stuff to kind of give back to a lot of people weren't aware, but also is all their books, like they have that guaranteed deal where
they're returnable.
Yeah, where it's returnable. So, and Jack and I talk about this all the time. You mentioned how Boom was right behind Image. We both think if Boom has a 2020 like they had a 2019, we think Boom will pass Image.
Yeah.
Soon.
I think they would have to ramp up the amount of titles that they put out as well. I mean, that's just.
But they won't do that because Ross
Image puts out quite a bit more titles.
Yeah, Ross wants less releases. Yeah. Less title releases.
Yeah. So the Boom actually challenged the industry at Comics Pro to make less comics, so that more comics would have FaceTime on the shelves. And by doing that, and that's the philosophy that Boom adopted in 2019, so they made less books, not a tremendous amount less, but they really focused on quality. They cut back their titles by, I think it was like 15%, maybe a little bit more. And you saw the difference. They
concentrated more on creator-owned titles. Like they have some great licenses, which that's another thing about the option news. A lot of people get confused with, hey, we're going to get a Ninja Turtle or Power Rangers. Well, Boom licensed as characters, but they don't have the rights to them. So those actually Disney and Hasbro or Paramount.
Yeah.
Same with Buffy and Firefly, but they put a lot of great creator-owned out, and it almost, I don't want to say got Boom fatigue, but they put so many great titles out at once. You're like, you wait for that drop-off, right? You're like, well, this one isn't going to be as good. And then like you did a review of Folklords on your channel. I mean, they had so many great creator-owned books this past year. It was fantastic.
Yeah, Folklords was really good. I'm really I actually had a chance to talk with Matt Kent, and I think that they're going to extend the story. I think if you read the last issue, which is the wrap-up of that storyline, it sounds like from what he kind of mentioned to me that there's more story to be told down the line. So I hope that a volume 2 or something else comes out down the future, because I really like that one. Honestly, when I think of the books I enjoy the most, and I'm a Boom fanboy. I'm just going to say it. And full disclosure, I receive books every now and then from publishers, and Boom's one of them and stuff, and I review their books. I just want to put that out there. But I really enjoy their books. I mean, I don't sit there and get a book and it wasn't very good. I liked Alienated. I thought it was great. I liked Something That's Killing Children. It's probably my favorite book last year. The same thing with Red Mother, another great title. Folklords, like you said, I reviewed it. I reviewed it because I liked it so much. That's why it was on there. Honestly, Once and Future, I've never really read Once and Future. I've heard nothing but good things about it. But for the most part, it hasn't really tremendously interested me to jump in that title. I'm also not big on, I think they have Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Power Ranger fan. It's never been my thing, so I don't pay any attention to that book. I do like the Firefly, but I'm not a Buffy fan, so I'm not on board with the Buffy and the Angel and all that stuff. But seriously, man, that company is putting out I'm amazed.
And that's just the recent stuff, because you get so caught up in the recent stuff, you forget about the stuff that they put out that was great 5 years ago, creator-owned and licensed.
Yeah. So I'm really excited with them, and I really like the message they put out today on how they're supporting comic shops and stuff. It was a very zen video. I mean, if you watch the video, it's like he's in like some kind of Chinese garden or something. I don't know. That a little paper mache thing behind him or something. I don't know. It's like I felt very relaxed after I watched it. So I thought it was really good. But I just wanted to bring up Boom Studios because I know you did something. What titles would you like to see translated on Netflix?
The obvious ones, of course, is Something That's Killing Children and Red Mother. And then like the fanboy picks in me is Alienated. And I'll be honest, like the first time I read Alienated, I was kind of like, eh. But when I went back and read it again, I kind of liked it more. I think Alienated's a great one because I think it hits that key demographic for Netflix. That's like their Stranger Things type title. Folklords, I love Folklords because I'm an 80s guy, man. I like those type of fantasy. It reminded me of not the plot, but just that kind of feeling of never-ending story and Goonies and but they remind me of like some token type stories. But if I were to pick one, if I could say, hey, you get to pick one comic that we're going to turn into a Netflix, it'd be Red Mother.
Red Mother?
Yeah.
Now, see, I'd pick Firefly.
But like, they're going to bring that back. But that's a Fox or a Disney title. Disney owns that now. So
okay. I just said that because it popped in my brain. I really miss Firefly. It has nothing to do with Boom Studios.
Awesome.
But from their titles, obviously I said Something That's Killing the Children. When I read that book, I was like, this is a TV show in the making. I wouldn't mind seeing Folklords made into a TV show. I think that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Animated? I think a live action would be kind of expensive, but I think awesome animated style.
And they got all that Tiger King money right now. Netflix can afford to do. I mean, that couldn't have cost too much money to put that documentary together, right?
No, not at all.
Very
I
cool.
think that was the perfect scenario for them with the COVID-19 and everyone sitting around. I think it still would have been popular, but I think sitting around the house definitely made it popular.
Exactly. So, what title, or give me like 2 titles you're looking forward to coming back when the publishers start rolling and things start coming to comic shops? What are you looking forward to reading the most?
I absolutely love Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil.
Nice.
So that's definitely one I'm looking forward to from the big 2. And then I like Vault also, so I like Wasted Space. I think Wasted Space, Michael Morris, he's a writer on that. He's writing a bunch of other stuff. And he just sold like a horror movie. So might not be the sexiest picks, but those are always like the fanboy reader in me likes Wasted Space and Daredevil. I don't think anyone that's read the new Daredevil run has anything bad to say about it. It's just been fantastic.
That's the book for me for Marvel is Daredevil. I don't think he's going to be on that title for much longer, if I'm not mistaken, which is too bad because his run on it has been fantastic. The Wasted Space book, I've heard a lot of people say that's so good. I don't have any copies of that book, so it sounds like definitely a book I need to jump on. You know how many issues they got?
15 or 16.
Okay, so it's been out for a while.
Yeah, I have a pull box at Third Eye, and the only thing I get there is indie titles. Usually, it's either Mad Cave Vault or Boom Books. And then, full disclosure, like you said, Boom will send us books to review every now and then as well.
Yeah, Boom's pretty good about that stuff. We're gonna switch gears, man. We're gonna wind it down here, and we got some fun things to do really quick. And I'm gonna put this out there. Have you ever played a game called Desert Island?
It's like if you could have one thing on a desert island, what would it be? Type thing.
Pretty much, but I have certain categories for you, so you're gonna have to think about this. I mean, and we're just gonna say that there's electricity and there's stuff that makes it so you're okay. So, with Desert Island, 5 movies.
Instant, my all-time favorite movie, which is kind of getting cheesy right now. It's always Top Gun. Top Gun's at the top of the list. Goonies.
Nice.
I'm trying to be fast because it's supposed to be like lightning, right? John Wick. That's 3. I need a drama. 1917. Did you see that movie? It's freaking phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And then Braveheart.
Nice. Star Wars doesn't make it, huh?
You know what? I love Star Wars, but to be honest, it's kind of like Disney movies now, where I like start watching it and then I get bored.
Yeah. And for the record, 1917, awesome movie. I watched that. I really wanted to see it. I found a copy of it. Watch it. It's phenomenal how
it's
they
hard
did that
because
movie.
I also wanted to put Roadhouse in there, but
listen to you. That's on top of my list. All right, 5 people, not including friends and family.
Gary Vaynerchuk. Can it be dead or alive or
dead or alive?
Stonewall Jackson, Joe Gibbs. Was that 4?
That's 3.
3? Okay. I'm bad at math.
That's all right.
Bo Jackson.
Oh, nice.
And Katie Cassidy.
Oh man. So I would have picked like 5 ladies. Like any 5 cheerleaders from NFL team. Come on. That's my pick right there.
Country singers that'd be cool to be like just sit there and drink beer with also, but
Bo Jackson would be awesome. I actually just for some reason his highlight of him running up the wall in the baseball game popped up on my YouTube feed the other night. And I watched that like 10 times.
That one where he kind of runs his...
Yeah, he takes 3 steps up the wall, catches the ball, runs right up the wall and comes down. God, I miss that guy. He was so good. Now we have the rapid 10 questions. Okay. You ready for this? These ones you do got to be a little fast.
All right.
So here we go. And because we're the same age, I can kind of customize these to you a little bit like I could the other night with Reggie. Very first one, Jordan or LeBron?
I'm a Jordan guy.
There you go. Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man?
Pac-Man.
Really? Miss Pac-Man is so much better.
Yeah. I understand that. It added a little bit more into it, right? And you're like, especially as a kid, you're like, man, this is great. It's more than what Pac-Man is.
Yep. Big Mac or Whopper?
Big Mac.
Favorite Batman actor who played Batman? Michael Keaton?
Yep. That's my Batman.
Yeah. So let's just be honest. When we heard the news that Michael Keaton was going to be Batman, I was like, what? Michael Keaton's going to play Batman?
Yeah. It was the same with Ben Affleck.
Yeah. And then I was like, he was so good. Next one, NWO or DX?
Ooh. I'm an NWO guy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I understand DX, but yeah, I'm an NWO guy. I think it was just because I don't want to say DX. I don't want to say mainstream, but it just like, oh man, that seems like they were almost copying NWO. But
that's a tough one though, man.
Yeah, they're both great. I mean, especially kudos to Triple H in his 25 years, right?
Yep. Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy?
I'm a Mary Jane guy. Mary Jane is who I know mostly from the comics of reading in the childhood. And like Jack and I say, man, redheads are freaks, man. So you got to go with the redhead.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Graded books or raw copies?
Ooh, that's a tough one. A lot of times if I'm buying for PC, I buy graded books now. Just especially if it's like eBay or stuff like that, because graded books, you know what you're getting. You don't have to worry about restoration, clipping, or anything like that. But if it's from a store, if all I can afford is a raw book, I don't hesitate to buy it. But yeah, graded. Sorry, lightning round, graded.
That's all right. Superpower, super speed or super strength?
I think I take strength.
Strength, not bad. Another wrestling.
Guy, so yeah.
Another wrestling one, and like I said, because of your age, man. Ravishing Rick Rude or Mr. Perfect?
Mr. Perfect.
And they were both high school buddies as well, too.
Yeah, I'm a Mr. Yeah. A lot of that's also Mr. Perfect had a great walkout song, man. It was just classic.
Last one on here: Guns N' Roses or Metallica?
Ooh. Can we say then and now? Like, if you're saying like 1988, I'd go Guns N' Roses, but now Metallica, but not their newer stuff, the classic Metallica. But at the time, I was full Guns N' Roses when they came out.
Oh, Guns N' Roses all the way, man. Brian, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you. Kind of tell the people watching about your channel. I have his link down below. If you're not familiar with Simpleman Comics, please check it out. But Brian, tell them what you bring to the table.
Right. So, well, before I do any of that, I want to thank Bueller. Bueller, have you broke kayfabe and given out your real name? I think you have, right?
Yeah, it's Travis. People know me.
Yeah. So I want to thank Travis for bringing me on. This is great to catch up again. And what's going on our channel right now? We normally have a bunch of new release talk, but with no comics coming out, we're covering a lot of hot 10, or I say hot 10. That's bad. That's CBSI stuff. But we're doing a lot of top 10 lists. We're doing back issues. We're breaking out categories. We just had a top 10 underrated X-Men book list come out. We have some more creator-owned interview stuff in the works as well. We have a hoping to bring FOC back, our last call show. But either way, and like you said, we're both hosting Mainframe Comicon panels this weekend. So make sure you go to Mainframe Comicon, check out their schedule for that. But we just always try to do creative stuff. And right now we are basically doing a lot of back issue related history. We just did a top 10 Peach Momoko cover list on our channel. But yeah, we're dropping stuff. We're recording Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So usually stuff's hitting. But yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to your awesome community as well.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. Like I said, this was night 5, the final night of interview week. This might be a yearly thing. I don't know. It depends on what's going on. But I want to say thank you to Brian for giving me the opportunity to not have to edit a video for the whole week, and thank all the guests that gave me the opportunity to not have to edit a video for the whole week. I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat for taking the time to watching this whole week of interviews that we did. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun just catching up with some old friends that I haven't talked to in a while. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys all know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.